good afternoon and welcome to Ask the Experts. Power Platform is the best way for teams to build together. I will go over some quick housekeeping items and then we will get started. Please use the chat to ask questions. Use the upvote on your favorite questions and our experts will answer verbally and over chat. We will be recording on our side. We ask that you not record it on your end, and we also ask that you help our moderators by not spamming the chat. Lastly, please adhere to the Microsoft Code of Conduct. It is posted in the chat and here for you to reference. And with that, let's meet our experts. Julie, I'll turn it over to you.
Fabulous. Thank you, Sharon, and welcome everyone listening in. I hope you are warming up, submitting all your questions. We'll just do a very quick round of introductions so you know who we all are and what areas we represent. So I'll start. I'm Julie Strauss. I'm a PM Director for the Power Platform, specifically around the pro developer and admin experiences. And I think we'll just go down the list. Clay.
Thank you, Julie. Hi, everyone. My name is Clay Wesner. I'm the GPM for the Power Apps Studio. So I lead all the maker experiences for Power Apps. So whether you are creating Dataverse entities, building a Canvas app, building a model-driven app, you'll be using one of our maker experiences. Over to, I believe we don't have Justin, we have Samir instead today.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm not Justin. My name is Samir. I'm filling in for Justin, who is my manager. And I'm a program manager from the Power Automate team, and I look at the ecosystem integrations. Mohammed?
I think Mohammed, we're standing in all for Mohammed as well. We'll move to Per.
I'm Per Mikkelsen. I'm on Julie's team. I'm a PM heading up our pro developer and ISV experiences team. So any pro dev, any extensions that we have out there, like GitHub Actions and VS Code extensions and Visual Studio extensions, Azure DevOps extensions, all these wonderful things. ISV Studio are things that my team is putting out there. Great to be here.
In addition to that, I also think we have Debraj joining. Are you there, Debraj?
I am, yeah. Hey, how's everyone doing? My name is Debraj Ghosh. I am a product marketing manager for Power Platform, and I work very closely with the engineering team that we have here today.
Awesome. So I think with that, we will dive right into the questions. Let's see what we have up here. A couple of questions. The first one is, why is Power Platform licensing so prohibitively expensive? Initially, we scoped out 2 projects to use Power Platform, but have to move our technology away from Power Platform because of their high monthly costs. I will publish that. I think generally, obviously, we think we're reasonable. And I think with the seeded approach we have with Office, we have definitely seen a lot of adoption come in that way with, we'd say, very generous starting points. Obviously, every project is special, so there might be very specific reasons why you feel this particular or specific project have been super expensive. I think if you want to reach out, I'm very happy to walk through your specific scenario in more detail. I think it's hard to comment on very specific implementations like that. So happy to have that conversation offline. Clay, I don't know if you have anything you specifically want to add to that one for Power Apps or.
Yeah, the only thing I will say that specific for Power Apps that people might not be aware is that there has been actually promotional pricing for people that are looking for projects that are looking at 200 seats and above. That is just available. It's actually listed on the website. So if you go to powerapps.microsoft.com/pricing, and so it takes it from like the Power App plan, instead of it being $10 per month down to, I think it's $3, and then instead of 40 down to 12 or something along those lines. And that's kind of like an open, in the recording, don't quote me exactly on those prices. Please go look at the website and check. I'm doing that from memory. But you know what I mean? So that's kind of like a default volume discount that is available for larger projects. So to Julie's point, like obviously cost is relative, and you know what I mean, follow up if you'd like to, but some people aren't just even aware that some of those options exists for larger projects. So I would suggest going have a look at that as well.
And actually add to that, it also depends on your point in time. We did have a change where we moved from our P1 and P2 licenses into a per app model, that if you are just building a single app, like what we saw initially was the first app challenge, where you buy a license where you can have any number of apps, and we very quickly see users having a high number of apps when the cost becomes very fair. But the challenge for some organizations has been the very first app, and we did change the pricing there, so you have the per app license right now that is lower in cost and allows you to have full functionality, but for only a single app. And a single app is currently defined as 2 apps and a portal experience. So that it also depends on point in time, maybe. So take that into account as well. So let's see, what else is there? Lots of updates in regards to Power Platform, very few for Dynamics. First party sign of very few for first party sign of things to come. Is Power Platform going to replace first party? Absolutely not. So we obviously Power Platform has matured a lot, and we have done a lot of investments in the last year, especially for pro developers. And obviously this being built, we tend to focus on the investments where we invest most for this particular audience, and everything we do for Power Platform for pro developers benefits the first party apps, right? So everything we do for connect, for example, for the extensions, for VS integration, for custom controls, that will all benefit first party as well, both ISVs as well as customers and developers. So, but it's a good point. Maybe we forget to mention that, but we really think of Power Platform as a key part of that is obviously being the customization platform for first party. So it's definitely not going away. Clay, you want to add something there?
Yeah, and I think another way for people to think about it is that it's not a matter of Power Platform ever replacing, like the Dynamics apps are built on the Power Platform. So when we go and announce these hundreds of features that we've just added to the Power Platform, Dynamics apps just got them as well. Because now when you customize Dynamics apps, you have the ability to leverage these Power Platform capabilities as well. When you extend them, when you build companion apps, when you, you know what I mean, when you can sort of consume. So any value added to the Power Platform is value add for these Dynamics apps as well, because it is the platform that the Dynamics apps are on. So, you know what I mean, the way to think about it is the platform that these apps are built on, not something that is competing side by side. Also as well, I would definitely suggest looking at the release notes. It's potentially not just a matter of it's a different audience at this conference, and as Julie said, not necessarily evangelized in these sessions, but the Dynamics apps are releasing a huge amount of features and updates for their products as well. I see a great question in the list that I can take if you like, Julie.
Yeah.
Not to steal your moderating duties.
Go for it.
I just before you go there, Clay, maybe just add to that, to your point around like Build is a very platform-centric kind of event. Whereas if you go and look up the Business Application Summit or the Inspire event that's coming up, right? is a lot more business application centric. So that's where you're going to see more focus on the Dynamics first party apps announcements as well. So it's different audiences that these different events are targeted. Hand it over to you, Clay.
That's a great point. So Jamie's question, Power Apps for Team Studio is bracketed slightly different than regular Power Apps Studio. Is there a plan to align the UXs? The short answer, yes, absolutely. The long answer is that will happen over time. And basically what you'll see is we have a lot more features in the web. We have a slightly more modern UX in Teams. You'll basically see those journeys come together as we modernize things in the web. You'll see them come to Teams, and you'll see those modern experiences come to the web. But ultimately, our vision and where we want to be over the next 12 to 18 months is that regardless of the entry point you come to build a Power App, whether that's on the web, whether that's in Teams, whether that's from Azure, whether that's from SharePoint, whether that is from Dynamics, regardless of the entry point, you have a common experience and you see the exact same authoring experience. So yes, we know there's some divergence at the moment. We took an opportunity there with introducing the new Teams experience, but we're working hard on getting rid of that differences at the moment. So you'll see that slowly move away. Even some of the updates that are coming out at the moment, like the new data pane that recently launched, we're about to roll out a new settings experience that's going to come out in the next month. They're common. So the new settings experience that will come out is common to the web and to the Teams experience. So hopefully you won't see us sort of create any more divergence, just clear it up from now on.
Okay, then I think we'll just keep on Clay. He's on a roll here, so I'll give him another question. Any plans to work on the same app with multiple devs?
Yes. The short answer, yes. The long answer here is yes, this is another long-term journey for us. So we absolutely want to support collaboration in a few different ways. So we're looking at how that journey will evolve, both for citizen developers, so who sort of expect, like, you know what I mean, an office style journey of I just want to come into an application, open it up like I would a PowerPoint or a Word document and work with other people and collaborate, as well as more like a pro developer who's more expecting to come in, create a branch, merge it, and commit. So yes, absolutely, our goal, and it's something we're very seriously investing in at the moment, is how do we move to this world and this environment of how do multiple developers work on a Power App at the same time.
Thank you, Clay. And I think very much obviously also focused on this for the citizen developers. Here, maybe you want to drop a few hints for how we are thinking about this more explicitly for also pro developers, though that is a little bit jumping into the future, but it might be worth dropping a little hint here.
I would love to drop some hints about that. So any of you that followed both the keynote and several other sessions, right, probably noticed that we talked a lot about this new concept called fusion development, right? The idea of different audiences co-developing. And what Clay was talking about, what we're lighting up as far as building in the low-code experience, is multiple citizen developers being able to co-author applications and be able to comment on things. And the next level of that is the ability to maybe turn some of those comments into asks from pro developers that will receive these asks from wherever they are. So if they're living their everyday life in GitHub or VS Code, in GitHub they'll go in and they'll see issues raised by the citizen developers, and they'll be able to go in and fix things. Maybe they'll fix a formula that isn't that doesn't function properly, right? And they'll do that using PowerFX, and they'll be able to do that from Visual Studio as opposed to going into the maker experience. But all of that requires what we talk about as native source code integration. So it means that today, with the different tooling that we published, when we did the GitHub Actions, we did the Azure DevOps build tools, they all require someone to go in and actively set up a pipeline that puts things out into source control and set up these pipelines. Whereas in the future, we imagine a scenario where you simply just turn on source control, and the professional developers, they will open up PowerFX from VS Code, and they will fix the formulas, or they will write the APIs and just push it straight back into the Power Platform. So we envision a much smoother transition between these two very different audiences that we deal with in the concept of Fusion developers.
Awesome. Then there is another question here. I will start, and I'll probably hand it over to Samir for more flavor. Any plans for making API calls or Azure Function Connector for Power Apps in the future, or is Automate going to continue that role? And I will say very much the technology stack is with Power Automate, but, and I'm not sure if, Steve, you have seen the integration we have done with Azure API management, where essentially going from whenever you register an API to API management, you can export that into the Power Platform into an environment. And a lot of the work you actually had to do in Power Automate before to convert and have it show us a custom connector in Power Apps, that has actually gone away. So from that perspective, we have eliminated a lot of manual steps that you had to do in Power Automate. So we're not going to do a change in the technology stack, but I hope you will see that we are reducing a lot of the kind of the friction for going between environments. But I'm not sure, maybe something additional, Samir. I don't know if you want to add anything, but we very much think of it as a platform capability, more than dedicated to Power Automate.
And maybe just to build on that a little bit, Julie, sorry for taking off before Samir has a chance to answer. But what we're doing, if you look at this Fusion Dev concept, right, is to, instead of saying that now you have to go into Power Automate and now you have an Azure Function Connector, right? Someone needs to build that Azure function. So we're kind of turning it upside down and say the developer who's building that Azure function can, with 2 clicks, literally make it available into the Power Platform, right? So we're kind of looking at it from the other side. Let's let the developer make that available to the citizen developer, rather than the pro dev building it and having to go into Power Automate and access it from there. So it's just a different way of looking at it. But I'll hand it over to you, Samir, to talk more about any plans on Power Automate.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I was just going to say the same thing, which is, you know, Pierre has mentioned a lot of work that we have done to make sure APIs, especially published on API management, can be consumed from our platform, right? And that includes both Power Automate as well as Power Apps as well, right? We do have more work that we have in our backlog that you will see in the future as well to improve upon these scenarios, right? So both from a pro dev just publishing the API on Azure side, as well as the ability for any user to be importing those APIs and Azure functions from our platform as well. So you'll see more investment on that.
Yes, thank you. And let's see what we're gonna pick here. Oh, there's one. I'm picking on Clay today, but I planned that all along, though. I want you all to know that. So is model-driven apps coming to Dataverse for Teams?
So I'll answer this in 2 parts. So the Dataverse for Teams, I'm not sure if your question is specifically about the license that we offer, like the offering Dataverse for Teams, or bringing it into the environment. So we are doing work at the moment to finalize bringing in support for model-driven apps in Teams, so you can deploy them in those environments. You know what I mean? Deploy them in those environments and use model-driven apps in Teams, deploy them easily, pin them into channels like you can do with Canvas apps. There isn't a decision or a roadmap or anything like that specifically around the inclusion in the Dataverse for Teams, like license or offering, if that's where your question is.
Thank you, Clay. And then there is another question from Nigel. It might be is instead of as, but the question says, if that's the case, the question is the default environment, as the default environment is considered insecure? I don't know if it's a statement or a question. If it's a question, I'll answer it with no. But we do always recommend to think through kind of your environment strategies. So obviously default environment is designed to make sure that we can be that customization platform for Office, meaning if you customize the SharePoint form or build workflows for SharePoint, that any user who does that actually has a place to land that work. This is really what the default environment was designed to do. And obviously you can create apps and automations from the default environment as well. There is guidance out on our documentation for how to think about essentially environment strategies. And I would say, think through what are the connectors. Those are typically the areas where customers think of insecurities or threats, like what data sources do you allow users to work with, and what can they share with each other. So I think of the environment strategy as, how would you like your organization to work? What can you do in default environment? For example, only allow connectors that are supporting like Dataverse and the Office connectors, but you might say don't use SAP, etc. And then you can have dedicated environments for each of your departments, or like whatever your strategy might be, but you can now kind of define a strategy around data access. We have also just about to release a capability that will allow you to limit sharing in the default environment. What we heard a lot is, can we prevent makers in the default environment? And you cannot, and we will not do that either. But what we will allow you to do is control how many can actually share. So because it is meant as a personal productivity space, so you can say you can only share with, let's say, 5 users. So that will help you kind of manage the default environment. But if, for example, if you're building an app for your sales team that you want to go through dev, test, and prod, you want to build a dedicated environment for each of those phases as well. So that's kind of the thoughts that go into the environment. So you don't want to just have everybody in your organization build production apps and personal apps in the default environment. I'll recommend you go out and search for Power Platform environment strategies, and you'll get some guidance on that.
I put it in the chat in response to the question as well, Nigel. So
fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So
I see a question that allows me to talk about one of my favorite topics.
Do it, Clay.
And I lost it. Maybe you just published it. But the question was about learning or guidance for PowerFX.
Go for it. I did not.
Oh, I can't find it now. But anyway, I'm still gonna. Maybe I'm just making the question up in my head because I really want it to exist. So I'll just pretend it was there and I'll go ahead and answer it. And so there's 2 things I'll say there. Yes, we're investing a lot in just sort of like our traditional learning and documentation and training videos. So we are beefing up. PowerFX is getting its like own top level documentation section in docs.microsoft.com and some of its own learning content. We're also investing in some videos at the moment, so you'll see those coming out soon. So yes, we are investing in some content. The other thing that I will say is, hopefully you saw it in the video as well, is that we're going to continue doubling down and investing in GPT-3 and our natural language investments. And really the goal there is that you will have this tool within the product that will help you learn PowerFX, so that ultimately you don't have to keep going to a video or docs or something like that to learn PowerFX, that while you're in the studio, while you're building your app, you're going to be able to just kind of describe what you're trying to do. And the best thing about it, if you haven't seen the demo yet, when you get hands-on, it explains to you, it goes, here, this is what I understood you're trying to do. Here is the power effects that I generated for you. You click it and it inserts it into your app for you to consume. So it's a great way for you to sort of describe what you're trying to do and start learning the language as you go. So yes, we will continue to invest in traditional methods, but we also see natural language to Power Effects as a great way for people to keep learning it as well.
We have 5 minutes left, and I will pick a question that I think will be a good high note to end on. For each panel member, what upcoming future Power Platform update or new feature are you the most excited about? I will start with Samir.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. So it's hard to pick one, so I'll pick two. So the first one is, we announced what we call as community integrations, right? So that's very exciting because so far, a lot of people have come to us and say, hey, we built a connector and want to be part of the ecosystem. So, and that has been something that we did not enable per se, because when you want to release a connector on a platform, we require that you own the underlying API, the backend service, right? So with the community integration, that is going to change. So anybody can come and get their build the connector and get it certified, and we will publish it onto our platform. And we are doing a bunch of work to make that simple and easy. So that would be one of my favorite feature. And the second one would be around the support for script or C# code in custom connector. So that is also pretty exciting for me because it opens up a lot of functionality, a lot of things that you can do in a custom connector without you having to worry about hosting that code anywhere. So yeah, there you go. I picked two.
Yeah, that means Clay doesn't get one. No, I'm kidding. Clay, do you want to go next?
So my big one, this has been a passion of mine for a long time now. An excitement one, we've been talking about this for a while. We posted a blog about it recently, is the convergence of Canvas and Model in the app development world. And so I say it's upcoming because it's still, it's relatively new. The studio version rolled out, I believe, this week for you to consume it. And so basically there's a new modern app designer that we've just rolled out. And basically what it allows you to do now is build model-driven and Canvas pages in a single app. So no longer sort of divided between these two worlds. You get all the richness of Model, all the richness of Canvas in a single app to deploy and share. This has been like a long-term vision for us. We've been working on it for a couple of years now, and it's sort of a big cathartic moment for us for it to finally go out the door. We still have a lot of work for it, to really smooth the edges on it and make it fantastic, but we're super excited to get it out to people's hands and see what people can do. So if there's anything people should leave from this session with, it's definitely go try that. Right, Julie?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like picking a favorite child because I have lots of wonderful teams that are doing wonderful things. But I'll piggyback on Clay's concept of convergence and maybe pick something on that line, right? My favorite thing might actually be Clay's thing, because these things coming together is going to be a massive change. But choosing stuff from my own, choosing things from like my own areas, right, is kind of the thing about convergence for tooling and how you build on the platform, right? So my team deals with Pro Dev and ISV experience, and in the past you had all these different fragmented tooling options, and you needed this for that, and you needed PowerShell for this, and you needed to like run this. It was very difficult. It was inapproachable as a pro developer to come in brand new to the platform. We had great community initiatives that enabled you to do something, but coming in blank was really difficult. So this idea of like me going into VS Code, get an extension that lays everything down in 20 seconds for me to build something, package something, and publish it up like to me is really my favorite thing, and that's what you're gonna see come up here very, very soon. Just to what took days and weeks before will take 30 minutes 3 months from now.
Okay, I also have two favorites. I'm sorry, but one is very quick. You may have noticed that this week we announced an updated version of the the community plan, the pro developer plan. That I would say we are probably a little early with that, but it is out there. It is for free, a free experience for you to try and get started with. I will get really excited when we have the full support for dev, test, and prod is part of that experience. So we have a fully fleshed developer SKU that you can get started with for free. That I'm very excited about. And the second part I will be very excited about is when we really can allow pro and citizen developers to collaborate. So some of the collaboration efforts and making sure that everything is backed by source code in a way where citizen developers do not have to know about it. They just automatically do it. For me, that will be a very, very exciting point in time. So with that, I think we are exactly on time. So thank you everyone for listening in. Thank you for submitting your questions, much appreciated. Hope you found it useful and that you're going to build some exciting apps and automations.
Please do. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.